Okay, so I lied. There will actually be a few more videos related to this subject. 1 or 2 of them are already in the works aside from this one, but I don't know overall if this series of videos will end anytime soon. Trigger warning. Conversations relating to rape culture, grooming, racism and sexual assault are held in this video. I'm not saying Timothy Heller is an amazing person in this video. She has been called out for genuinely bad things that we will get into later. There are both fake and true things going around about Timothy. I want to debunk them but also make it clear she's not an amazing person. Part 1. Timothy quote admits to lying about the essay. So Timothy has pretty much had multiple Melanie fans make fake posts pretending to be Timothy and pretending to apologize because they made it up. Timothy has responded to all of these and stated they were not her.
You also may have heard that I admitted to lying or that it was proven that I lied. Neither are true.
A lot of Melanie fans will use either this fake tweet or they'll use a fake Instagram screenshot to say that Timothy admitted to lying. But again, these were made by Melanie fans. She never said on Twitter that she was lying, and she never said on Instagram that she was lying. And I want to talk about this one specifically because people love to pass this one around. This doesn't even make sense because at the time this happened, that Timothy came out with her story, she wasn't even in the criteria for BPD and she was misdiagnosed with BPD. So this story doesn't even make sense and it doesn't sound like it was written by her at all.
Even if Melanie is innocent, you fans making this fake evidence only makes the case more convoluted. The next thing I want to talk about is the Sarah Morgan tweets. To sum it up, this person said Timothy had a motive the whole time and she planned everything. She was apparently obsessed with rape culture, which before we even move forward, that's bullshit. If anyone is obsessed with themes like that, it's Melanie. One of the problems with the Sarah Morgan tweets is that they also don't state that Timothy explicitly consented. They say Timothy giggled playfully. First of all, giggling can be a huge sign of discomfort. I remember trying to just laugh it off when I was assaulted. Second of all, they were playing a game. Of course they would giggle because it wasn't Timothy's intention to go anywhere further with it other than playing the game as a joke. And yeah, it is weird to do this while you have a boyfriend. But as I said earlier, I don't think Timothy is an amazing person. So back to these tweets. Sarah Morgan isn't even a real person. The picture used as a profile picture is Timothy with one of her former bandmates or friends, who is not named Sarah Morgan. This person has no actual connection to Timothy themselves. And that combined with the fact that they tried to use a picture of Timothy and another person to play it off like they were that person only further proves that this is not a reliable source. And even if it was, they still never mentioned Timothy saying yes. In fact, they say quote Melanie wouldn't budge, meaning, Mel was coming on to Timothy and wasn't stopping, without clear consent. These tweets don't even make Melanie look good. A playful no is still a no, and these tweets are one of the many examples of Melanie fans contributing to rape culture, in turn making it harder for victims to speak up. Melanie's fans push these tweets so far thinking they're smart, but they can't see the typos, inconsistency and lack of explicit consent. Part 2. Grooming claims. Timothy Heller has been accused of grooming. The first one came out and admitted both on TikTok and Reddit that they made it up. However, I did find some other claims might be fake. I don't know. Either way, I don't think it's been addressed, so I'd say one's grooming case is false. But there is a possible second one, however there isn't much proof to back it up. I don't want to straight up deny this completely. Part 3. Possible fake porn that is supposed to look like it's filmed in public. So after the allegations happened, Timothy started an OnlyFans account for a multitude of reasons, one of them being to take back control of her own body and sexuality. Something that not a lot of people realize is that a lot of people who end up making adult content is to find autonomy after trauma. That's why some people consider sex work to be empowering. If you are a legal adult, do what you want, but stay safe. During Timothy's OnlyFans career, Melanie fans would actually subscribe just to leak her work. That by itself is a huge issue. But one thing I'd like to mention is that the picture I'm referring to was never brought up until recently, coincidentally during the era of people using AI for everything. In fact, this isn't the only instance of AI that I'll be talking about today. Anyway, here is the tweet with the picture censored. First of all, making AI porn of someone is literally a form of sex crime. Honestly, at first I couldn't find any images of this specific bench, but I uploaded the photo to Google and found multiple matches, including ones with the same background. I also zoomed in on the picture of Timothy on the bench, and honestly it's hard to tell if it's AI. But if it isn't, why wasn't anyone saying anything about this back when Timothy actually did sex work? Her stuff was constantly being leaked back then, and in my opinion this picture would have caused a huge uproar online even back then if it was real and leaked. I tried uploading the picture again, this time with Timothy, and I couldn't find any matches. It could just not be on Google. But as I said, there would have been more tweets back then, but the only tweets I could find were new. That all being said, this picture does look alarmingly realistic to me. I want to be honest that I really don't know for sure if this is fake. I'd love to believe Timothy wouldn't do this, but I don't want to just deny it. I want to take a short break here to mention that if these claims about Timothy are true, that doesn't mean she deserved to be raped. People bring up problematic things she's done to shift the blame, but none of these things prove she wasn't raped. You may have seen the claims of Timothy being a Hitler worshipper and racist. When it comes to the use of the N-word, she has publicly apologized for that, and as a white person I'm not the right person to speak on if this is or isn't a good apology, so here it is for you to form your own opinion. The Hitler thing. Again, there isn't much proof other than a super offensive drawing that may or may not have been drawn by Timothy. One thing I'd like to say is that Melanie used to constantly shout out and also work with a company called Lime Crime. If I'm not mistaken, the CEO literally dressed up as Hitler for Halloween alongside multiple other controversial behaviors. First of all, if Timothy is racist and a possible Nazi, why would Melanie have been friends with her in the first place? It's unlikely she wouldn't have known. In fact, if this is true, that means Melanie was okay with having sex with someone who has those beliefs. Don't forget that Mel confirmed they were intimate. I'm going to briefly discuss the claims that Timothy accused other artists and bullied Billie Eilish. So first of all, she literally did not bully Billie Eilish. She just expressed concern that Billie could get groomed or harmed in other ways because she was a child hanging around all these adults. Billie has now literally made multiple songs about her experiences with grooming. So Timothy wasn't wrong, was she? The claims that Timothy accused other people simply aren't true. The next AI situation is Melanie fans accusing Timothy of using AI to make fake audio, and I think also messages of Melanie admitting I don't have the audio, but thanks to Honeybee on TikTok, here are some screenshots of someone confirming they made them with AI. Speaking of Honeybee, I actually want to take a second here to recommend content about the Melanie Martinez situation by other creators. Please check out Honeybee's TikTok series about Melanie. I highly recommend these YouTube videos as well. These all provide really good points and are good to keep in mind. The last thing I want to go over, Timothy literally did on camera. So obviously it did happen and it is bad. Pretty much Timothy was live streaming and decided to make their friend watch the infamous 2 Girls 1 Cup video. I couldn't find this video, but it's floating around on TikTok. First of all, making someone watch porn without their consent is again a sex crime. And I'm genuinely so mad that Timothy did this, especially because it's not something that might have happened. Making people watch that video without telling them what it is actually what started the reactions genre on YouTube. So I can slightly see why Timothy may have thought it was fine, considering hundreds of people have done it. But that doesn't make it okay, and she absolutely should not have done it. In conclusion, Timothy definitely might have some skeletons in the closet. I'm not saying any of them are okay, but none of this means she didn't get raped. And once again, Timothy was not the only victim. In fact, the other victim was under the influence of alcohol and drugs while Melanie was completely sober. I plan on going into more detail about that in a future video, but Honeybee also has a few videos about it I recommend watching. That will be all for this video. Please comment if I got anything wrong, and I'm sorry this was such a heavy one.